free agency has basically come down to a halt with just the restricted free agency, maybe a handful of smaller deals still waiting to be left. I want to talk about two Western Conference teams. I want to ask this question. Are the Los Angeles Clippers going to be anything more than just a really good regular season team this year? And how the Sacramento Kings have fallen from one of the young up-and-coming teams to now a team where the roster just doesn't make sense. We're going to get into all and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host, there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. I want to talk about this. I want to start off talking about the Clippers. Now, the Clippers are a team that I think could be a really, really good team. I want to be clear. And what I'm talking about, I think they could be really, really good. You look at their major acquisitions this offseason. They got Bradley Beal. They brought in John Collins. They were able to maintain Zubac. And, I think that's really good for them on top of it. They brought in Brook Lopez, which I think could be a good acquisition for them as well. They just recently also signed Ty Washington, which I don't really think that's going to turn into very much for them. But this is a team that if you could guarantee that Kawhi Leonard was going to play 65-plus games and be healthy for the playoffs, I would say no doubt that this is going to be one of the better teams in the league, one of the toughest teams in the league, I should say, right? And that's despite their age. This is a very, 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 did I highlight it? Very old team when it comes down to it. But I do think they're a team that's built to be able to do, the things that are needed to be able to contend. They won 50 games last season, right? But then I want to ask this question, are the Clippers really meant to be anything other than just a really good regular season team? And the reason why I ask that is this, right? You have two players in Bradley Beal and James Harden who are some of the bigger disappointments sometimes in the playoffs. So I just don't think you can overlook some of the postseasons that Bradley Beal and James Harden have had where it's just been really, really freaking disappointing, right? You look at this past all season for the Clippers, for example, while he played in all 7 games, averaged 18 points per game on 43% shooting and 36% from the field. And that just isn't going to be enough to cut it. Now, while he averaged 9 assists, and that's really good that he was able to average that in the postseason last year, there's no doubt about it that James Harden is one of those players that sometimes he just craps the bed in the postseason. I mean, postseason Harden and the concerns there are a legitimate thing. And anybody who's watched his teams for a long time have known. Then you go and look at Bradley Beal, for example, too. Look at the 2023-24 playoffs for Bradley Beal, where he played 4 games. He averaged 16 points on 44% shooting. Now, he did shoot 43% from the field, but this is another guy that his performances aren't always the best in the postseason. Now, I mean, you look at Washington, he's had postseason in Washington where he's averaged almost 30 points, so there's that, right? But the doubt around those two players specifically are so big that I don't think you can overlook them and just think they're going to be some great team no matter how good they are in the playoffs. Then you have the Kawhi Leonard portion of it. And us just not knowing when or where Kawhi Leonard is going to be healthy at any given time, it's already difficult to plan on a healthy Kawhi Leonard for the regular season, much less the postseason. And because of that, that means that you're going to have to rely even more on the other two guys who we just mentioned in Bradley Beal and James Harden. Hope that Zubac is going to have a really big postseason. And not to mention John Collins as well. Collins is a player that, in my personal opinion, is a player that puts up decent numbers, but they have really felt pretty empty over the course of his NBA career, again, to me, right? And so why Kawhi Leonard is a player that, if he's healthy in the postseason, you typically know what he's going to bring as far as two-way play and stuff like that. Are you going to bet on him to be healthy? The Clippers are going to be such an interesting team to watch because I like some of their depth. Batum has played really good minutes for him. Derrick Jones Jr., a really good role player in the NBA. Chris Dunn, he has worked himself into having a really nice role on this team. And I think also, even with Chris Paul being on this Clippers team, a player that's going to come off the bench. He played all 82 games last year, still one of the better facilitators in the league. I think he's going to be able to put up decent numbers for you. But are you going to say, is he going to save you, right? I mean, hell, for this, Chris Paul can hit some big shots for you too. So maybe you're perfectly fine there. There's just tons of questions around this Clippers team. And while I'm really interested to see how they're going to shape up and how they're going to measure out in the Western Conference, I can't say that I have the utmost confidence that this is going to be a team that plays really tough in the playoffs. And that's where one of the biggest questions lie out. And not one of, that's for me where the biggest question is for this Clippers team. Is that, are they going to be able to have enough at the right times where they need it to be able to be a team that can go on any type of postseason run? And again, like I said, the age factor is another one as well, because once you get into the playoffs and you're playing consistently against some of the other upper echelon teams in that Western Conference, they know how to push the pace. That's one thing. The Rockets, the Thunder, they're going to push the pace on you, right? Now, I do think the Clippers are going to have to find a matchup that really suits them if they're going to want to have the best postseason. Matchups are going to be important for that team. I wouldn't mind seeing a matchup between the Clippers and the Golden State Warriors, because I think that, two older teams that are going to have to come down to the X's and O's part of it, and those type of things could actually be pretty fun to watch. I think when you look at the one-on-one matchups that could be there as well, it's going to be really fun when you could possibly see that. But we're getting too far ahead, right? The regular season hasn't even started. But if they end up falling into where they get into a matchup against the Memphis Grizzlies or something like that, I could see it being a bloodbath. So I have faith this Clippers team is going to win a lot of regular season games. I want to be clear there. I think this team is going to win a lot of games and look good during the regular season doing so. I think with having veterans that they have there, there's already there's a level of expectation that you should be able to operate on going into the season, and that's good, right? And now that you got Russell Westbrook, who's expected to sign with the Sacramento Kings as well, that can make that interesting. But we'll talk about more about the Kings here in a second, right? But it's just a very, when you talk about this Clippers team and you look at what they have and what they could potentially be, a fully healthy Kawhi Leonard, a Bradley Beal that's locked in. Again, he's stepping into that Norman Powell role. I think, he could be good there. And there is somewhat some balance on this team. John Collins is the one that I really look at and see what is he going to do on a team full of veterans, right? He's 27 years old, so he's not an extremely young player himself. But this is a guy who put up 19 points per game last year, and they could very well need that. But then the question is, too, is this Kawhi Leonard at this point in his career maybe better when it comes down to is he better at the four? Is Kawhi Leonard better at the four now at this point of his career? But let me know what you guys think. Are the Clippers destined to be anything more than just a really good regular season team? And do you think, like me, that they're going to have tons of struggles in the playoffs with just the makeup of the roster, performance level from Bradley Beal and James Harden? Or do you think that this could be, because again, we've seen teams with the right matchup at the right situation and all those kind of individual concerns go away because the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. Can the Clippers be that team? Let me know what you guys think on that down below. Now, I want to flip it and talk about the Kings, another interesting team, right? We've gotten word now, this one comes from Yahoo Sports, that Russell Westbrook is expected to sign with the Sacramento Kings for the 2025-26 season. This came out from Yahoo Sports about 5 hours ago before this recording, so fairly early in the morning. For those that know, I record these videos at 6 o'clock in the morning, so that dropped. We'll wait on the official report from anyone else to see, how serious this is. But if Russell Westbrook does sign with the Kings, that adds even more to, I already had this topic planned. The Kings were a team that just a couple of years ago were looked at as probably being one of the young and up-and-coming teams in that Western Conference, a team that was going to be tough. They had Sabonis. They had De'Aaron Fox. They had drafted Keegan Murray. That was a player that looked like he was going to be on the upswing as well. There were a lot of things to look at this Kings team and think, hey, that this is solid enough that this team could build off of this for years and years to come, and the thing is going to be solid. But then when you look at it and how it goes now, this is a Kings team that, because of things that have gone on there, De'Aaron Fox asked for his trade, with the Spurs being reportedly the only team that he wanted to go to, and that he ends up going to that team. That's great. You have DeMar DeRozan there now. You have Zach LaVine there now. You still got Domantas Sabonis, who's a player that could net you if you decide to really flip this and go rebuild. He could definitely net you some of the pieces that you want going forward, and maybe some of the draft picks there. You still got Keegan Murray there as well, but you got Devin Carter, who's a young player that was drafted recently there as well. But this Kings team just doesn't have that same kind of upside that you look at. And I like some of the players on this team. I want to be clear here, right? But there's a reason why this team was on my list of teams that rosters just don't make sense. You got Doug McDermott as a veteran, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Malik Monk. Right now, if the Russell Westbrook thing does come true, again, this is according to Yahoo Sports, they're really the only one that has this as it stands right now. We'll wait on another report before I officially say that. But again, per Yahoo Sports, Russell Westbrook is expected to sign with the Kings. We'll see when Shams announces that, right? But this is a team that just now, like, despite being a play-in team last year in that Western Conference, this roster is in such a place of disarray and imbalance that you just don't know who they could be. I could see the Kings, for example, being a team that wins 42, 43-ish games next season. I could see a world in which that does happen. But I can also see a world in which it happens to where the Kings are struggling coming out the gate. By the trade deadline, maybe they trade Domantas Sabonis. Maybe they look to trade DeMar DeRozan and they completely retool on some things. But then you gave Dennis Schroeder a pretty decent, sizable contract there. So you expect for him to perform there. You still got Devin Carter there. You're hoping is able to step into a point guard role himself. If this Russell Westbrook thing is true, again, if it is true, then you're expecting that to be a thing. So, you're looking at all of that to come down here, and we just don't, I can't say confidently who the fuck this team is. I just can't say that. And because of that, it's just like, I don't know how the Kings have now gotten to this place where you can be. And this just goes to show how quickly things can turn around in the NBA. You can go from a team that is looking like you are up and coming to a team that is now like, what is happening with this roster? Now, in adding Russell Westbrook to this team and how he's been able to be a really good player and productive player, even as his role has changed in the NBA, maybe that helps some things. But I tell you what, I don't think that is as clear cut right now. We got some more reports coming out of it as well that it's the Kings. But if it does end up being the Kings, DeMar, Zach, and Russ, right? All people who live in California or California residents. Is that enough to get it done? Is that enough of what you see there with Domantas Sabonis? Now, I do think that Russ can very well help that team, and I think that he has, and him and Dennis Schroeder can pair there and at that point guard rotation with Malik Monk being the spacer that they need at times. Maybe you're cooking something there, but I still think that this is just a team that just like they lack a true direction, and right now it seems like their direction, the biggest part of their direction, is hope. Hope that things work out. Hope that things look good on paper. Those type of things. But I guess we shall see. But let me know what you guys think down below. With Russell Westbrook seemingly, according to rumors, set to join the Sacramento Kings, is this something that ends up helping the Kings be better than most people are expecting? Do you think this is a team that can compete in that Western Conference? Let me know what you guys think on that down below. That's my time for today, guys. Make sure you guys are following us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything basketball related. And like I like to end every episode on, see you guys the next time I feel like making a video, probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.